Coenvioma Law, PLLC is 100% native-owned and operated, founded by Varen Coenvioma. Their practice areas include corporate law, business transactions, finance, economic development, gaming, casino development, online gaming, real estate, environmental permitting and approvals, telecommunications, government affairs, employment and labor relations, historic preservation and cultural resources, and energy. Coenvioma Law is committed to making positive and lasting change in our communities as they support nonprofit volunteering, community activism, and employing Indian preference in hiring and vendor relations. You are now listening to the Carl and JMan Save the World podcast. I am your host, the 5-star, 5-diamond chef, JMan. And with me is the Prince of No Air, Carlton Banks. Carl.
Carlton Banks. Damn, how old are you?
Well, I mean, the listeners by now know that people out in Munkapi used to call you Carlton. So,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so everyone's familiar with Carlton Banks. They did a revamp. of the Fresh Prince.
Yeah, I saw that.
Of Bel Air. I watched like the first 3 episodes. I was intrigued, but then other things came up and I never finished.
I was still waiting for Will to pop out, but no Will was coming in the remake, so I gave him.
You were waiting for the original Hillary to pop out.
Hillary Banks, Tatiana Ali. But anyway, it's great to be back in the studio. I know we missed yesterday's.
You are now listening to this on Thursday.
Yeah. So
as our social media post did mention that Carl and J-Man are celebrating Native American Heritage Month, and by celebrating, we are now running on Indian time.
We are celebrating the white man's holiday. Yes, we are.
We are not celebrating the white man's holiday. But how was your Halloween? We're back here with episode 7, I believe. And so we're pretty deep in season 9. And so, Halloween was over the weekend. We did have our special Halloween episode. I believe that was 2 episodes ago. And then even last episode, we were talking a little bit about Halloween and, Halloween being your favorite holiday. How did your Halloween end up going?
We talked about Halloween 3 times now. And
either that's a signifier that we really love Halloween or that we're running out of stuff to talk about.
But anyway, my Halloween was pretty good. I really enjoyed it. There was a decorating contest, a house decorating contest, and I won first place.
First place?
First place.
What'd you win for winning first place?
I was going to say first prize and then place at the same time. My brain just kind of overlapped each other.
The listeners aren't actually here in the room, Carl, so there's no reason to feel nervous when you're just talking to me.
My brain just kind of lapsed a little bit. I think I'm having a stroke or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, I won first place, and it was pretty neat. I got a nice little plaque that says Halloween decorating contest. First prize on there, and I believe that there's going to be some more prizes. That's what she was saying that haven't come in yet, so I'm expecting that as well too. I mean,
no cash
prizes.
Not even a gift card.
All my cash went into all my decorations.
God damn.
That's what $300 worth.
You sunk a whole grand of Halloween deco into Halloween deco just for a plaque.
Well, there's probably more like maybe candy or something like that.
Like a medal.
They're
going to give you a medal for all that money you spent.
Make the plaque into a medal,
making your house look like any normal house that's just around here.
all the spider webs, making my house look more like a meth house.
My Halloween was actually kind of a little stressful because I had to race home because my kids, and I guess that's kind of the interesting thing nowadays is like, because my kids' school, they wouldn't let them wear their masks into school. And so that was part of the rules. And so my son, he went to school with half a costume because the mask is a big part of his costume. Yeah. And he had a sword. And that was another rule is that you can't take basically toys in that are a part of your costume. So the 2 major parts of his costume was a sword and the mask. And so he couldn't take that in. So he's basically just wearing the top and the bottom. But then even then it's like, well, who the hell are you? Because then the mask and the sword tell you who the costume is. And then my mom was texting me, he wants his mask and his sword so he can go trick-or-treating. And then the Res famous wife, God bless her heart, her and her family, they're still actually undergoing the Hopi wedding that was happening over this past weekend, which actually was pretty cool too. That was a part of my weekend too, as well, before going into the Halloween day on Monday. And so there was this big wedding that was going on out in Kilutzmovi. Yeah. And everybody knows that we're talking about this because that was all the comments I was getting when I was there at the wedding. It's like, oh, so you and Carl are going to talk about the wedding that's going on.
Yeah, probably not.
And it's interesting because somebody mentioned you. Somebody did mention you. Somebody did bring you up. And they said this, and I quote, "Where is your sidekick?"
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So the people out there, they recognize who the true leader of this team is.
Well, they say the same thing about you as well when they talk to me.
Nobody says that about me.
Everybody says that
Nobody
about you.
says that about me.
It's like, where's your other half? They don't even mention your name. They just said that, where's the other guy?
Well, the other half doesn't signify lesser than.
They may just basically say, hey, it's Carl. Where's that other guy?
Said sidekick. Where's the sidekick here? So you're the true barnacle boy of this tag team.
Yeah, that's probably not true.
And
your name actually never gets mentioned, actually. So
you just said. And I like I said before we started recording, I do have a lot to say.
Okay.
And so, but anyway, that's how my Halloween went. And so, it was this kind of this big old stressful thing. And then the Res famous wife got home and she took our kids trick-or-treating out, and they were out pretty late getting candy. Yeah. And so now you come home and our house is just filled with Halloween candy. It's filled with Nova from the wedding.
Yeah.
And, I was exhausted from the weekend. And, I guess that's what a desk job will do to you when you're living out here in Hopi and you actually got to put in some back work and chop wood and lift up bags of flour. So that was pretty much my weekend.
Well, that's a really good weekend. I was, we went to the basket dance. So over the weekend.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. We're playing real Hopis out here. And so we went to the basket dance.
We were playing.
We ate good. I went out to go watch maybe just a couple. I didn't catch anything. Man,
I didn't expect you to catch anything.
Back then, like when I was growing up, crowds weren't like that.
No, yeah.
Man, I remember.
I would have to agree with that statement.
Yeah. Like when I was growing up, probably in my early teens, like 13, 12, something around there. And I would get up early just to go watch the first dance. And there would literally be like maybe 5 or 6 guys at the first dance.
Yeah.
Nowadays, they're like camping out. It's like Woodstock. It's like, they camp out. They're like the first ones there. And there's like over maybe 200-300 guys that are there at these basket dance at the early morning, expecting to catch something. I mean, it's crazy. It gets crazy.
It definitely does. And, I guess going back to my experience, and you mentioned that you were playing Hopi, and I guess I was playing Hopi too, because then I got to eat a lot of our delicious Nova that we've talked about before previously. Had Biki, had Bikami, ate Zakut Biki, ate Monsila, ate the whole 9, basically, all that Nekwavi. And so, I'm filled with grease. And so if you are what you eat, then I'm practically a sheep right now, because that's basically what I ate over the weekend.
Well, man, I know we had Nokwavi as well too. So, it was a great weekend. It's always good to be, Hopi, where you have a lot of food, a lot of company, a lot of friends, a lot of your family involved with all these different things like that. And it's great to do that. And speaking of that, we do have a topic on hand.
We do have some topics. We actually have 2 topics on hand.
Yes.
We kind of have 2 main topics on hand. But actually, because I think that we've been very busy in these last few weeks, and there were some things that have happened between you and I that I'd like to kind of discuss before we get to those main topics. So strap in your seatbelts. This is going to be a very long introduction. And so, one of the things that, it's kind of been popping up, and this does relate to this idea of playing Hopi over the weekend that both you and I were experiencing, being real live Hopis over the weekend, is that there have been some presentations that have been popping up throughout the Hopi communities. I think that you attended one. But basically, one of the organizations out here, the Tukaiki school,
Yeah.
And shouts out to them that, that they've been hosting these presentations, sharing information. But I think two of the main presentations that they've been hosting was one on Hopi weddings.
Yeah.
And so, Hopi weddings, so this concept, this idea, what all goes into a Hopi wedding must be really popular, at least as far as information that people want to know. Because then even you reflect back on our podcast that we have done 2 episodes on the topic of Hopi weddings. And those are 2 of our most successful episodes that we've done through the podcast. And so that's something that's really, I guess, of interest for people to learn about, because then, it's so different. It's so different because I think we had this conversation in our last episode about how different things change when it goes from one village to another, and that, there's so much symbolism that goes behind it, that a lot of the steps that you do, that there's a reason behind it. And a lot of us, we don't know what it is. We don't know what those reasons are. And so this presentation that the Takaiki school has been hosting, I guess that's for that purpose, to learn all of that stuff. But it was kind of interesting because then, these presentations that they have specifically about the weddings and the clans, that they have been, I guess, exclusive to Hopi. So you have to be Hopi to be able to attend these. And, one of the listeners was kind of like reaching out to me and, kind of a little upset that they weren't able to go to one of these presentations. And so, this, I guess to this day, that Hopis are still pretty secretive, I guess.
Yeah, we're not. We're not on our podcast. So if you want to know the secrets to that,
if you pay us, and then we'll tell you what you want to know. But, that was one of the things that's kind of been going on. But the other thing, too, that happened recently is that we were on another podcast. Yeah. We were on the Nakwetsveni podcast, which was released last Friday. And so if you haven't heard it yet, go check out our buddy Delvin. He has his own podcast called the Nakwetsveni podcast. And I believe that you can find that on everywhere that you can find us, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. But what was most fun about doing that podcast and that conversation that we had was that you and I got real personal. Like, we got to talk about ourselves. We got to talk about our own interests. And here on this podcast, that's something that you and I never really get a chance to do unless it relates to the main topic of what it is that we're talking about. Then usually that's the only time that we're able to do that.
Before we go on with everything like that, and we're finishing up like the Halloween traditions, finishing up with like one of the major holidays that are coming up here, I want to give a special shout out to one of our listeners that made my night. Remember last week's episode, I mentioned that Beetlejuice, the TV series?
Yeah. They found it free.
One of our listeners, and shout out to Deirdre not Leslie, Dukbu. Her last name is Dukbu. Your sister.
I thought her last name was Kapiktuita.
That's why she didn't get you one. Shout out to her for finding the entire series of Beetlejuice, the television series. Oh my God. That actually made my night. And that actually made, Halloween all better. It was great. It was the best time, and it was the end of Halloween. So the 31st, and it was the best night coming to an end of the first major holiday.
Well, that's good to know. Now you can loan it to me, so we'll both enjoy this gift.
Get a DVD burner. But that was it. That was the thing. Finishing up with the first major holiday, and then we do have a topic revolving around these things as well too. So
speaking of holidays, it's November right now.
It's November,
and so what major holiday happens in November?
Thanksgiving.
And so I have this question. There's been this great debate that's going on social media. When is it okay to start putting up your Christmas decorations?
On the 24th of December.
God damn.
Because that's when we do it.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Do you really? No shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because we're gonna take it down the next day anyway.
I saw a lot of people like already breaking out their Christmas stuff.
In the month of July or what?
In this month. Oh. And then some people were like, it's November 1st. Merry Christmas. And so like all of a sudden, it's like Thanksgiving doesn't exist anymore. And so we jump straight from Halloween into Christmas. And so, but I mean, for me, I guess personally, my rule used to be no Christmas stuff until December 1st.
Yeah.
But because I am a big fan of Christmas, I love Christmas. I love the music. I love the lights. I like all the decorations that you see everywhere that you go. I just love how excited my kids are And when I was a kid, I used to be excited too. Primarily, you're excited because you're getting presents.
Yeah.
Like that's the main thing. We celebrate the materialistic side of what Christmas represents. And so, my kids are similar. They get real excited because then they have, these dreams of what it is that they're going to receive for Christmas. But because I love Christmas so much, now I'm starting to bend my rules. My rule is the day after Christmas.
Yeah.
The day after Christmas, it's okay to start putting your stuff up. And then plus, I enjoy
You mean the day after Halloween or the day
after the day after Thanksgiving?
Oh, day after Thanksgiving. You said Christmas.
Oh, I'm sorry. The day after Thanksgiving. And, I enjoy it because when I wake up early in the morning and it's dark in your house still, I plug in my Christmas lights and then the whole house lights up. And then you can see. And so it's just such a different thing. But anyway, I guess, making this introduction any longer than it needs to be, talking about, I guess, the concept of today's episode really was kind of somewhat talking about holidays, but really talking about basket dances is something that we had brought up previously about doing a topic on. And then you mentioned that you were at this basket dance over the weekend.
Yeah.
And, us having so many listeners off the reservation. What are basket dances?
It's a tradition that there's these women that participate in this basket dance where they dance basically with baskets, basket plaques, the Zaya sifter baskets
from Michael's.
Well, to you, yeah, maybe.
What are these baskets?
They're made out of wicker. They're made out of yucca plants, and they're beautifully adorned with different designs of Hopi designs. And women exclusively make these plaques here. These nice baskets, basically.
What are they called in Hopi?
They're called titsayas, or they're called yingyapus, or they're all of these different types of plaques that are made by Hopi women, and they dance with these. And it's basically, this dance is mainly for the men. Men go out and they get, basically it's like a throwaway dance. Where they throw away cheap products, 99-cent. Candy and, all of these little knickknacks and stuff like that. And, it's very fun because you get to enjoy the women singing their songs, and you get to catch some stuff in the mix of everything like that.
So this dance it's a ceremony. It's a ceremony that's conducted by women's societies. And we've mentioned multiple times on this podcast that throughout our traditional calendar that there is a little space carved out for the ladies to take center stage, to be the showcased. And, these basket dances are part of their platform, I guess, to be able to be shown. And then so, these baskets that they dance with that you mentioned, that they're some of them are called yingyapus, and that's dictated on based of the material and style that they're made. And then you have another basket, the coiled basket, that's made out of, I believe, rabbit brush.
Yeah.
It's the Pahana term for it. And those are called potas.
Yep.
Those are called potas. And then you have these baskets that you mentioned are made out of yucca leaves, moho, and that those are called titsayas. And that these ladies dance with these baskets. And I guess, the important thing to note about these baskets is because that it takes a lot of time to make them.
Oh, yeah, it
and
does.
that you mentioned that how beautifully some of these look, because a lot of symbolism, design, and color is intertwined with it. And so some of these baskets can tend to be, I guess, money-wise, can be very expensive.
Yeah.
And then so some of these yingyapus, I guess, based on the size and the intricacy of it, can go anywhere between $300 to $500. Mm-hmm. Botas, probably about that, $200 to $500. Same thing based on size. And then the titsayas can go anywhere between $80 to $200.
Yeah.
Based on the color, size, and design. And these ladies dance with these. And they get dressed up in their yusi. And then they dance. And while they dance, these manas, I guess, quote unquote manas, that they come out and then they wauhito. It's the term for it. And then they, like you said, they throw out everything that you get from the dollar store shelves.
Yeah, basically.
Coat hangers, toilet paper, bowls, plastic cups, like everything from A to Z. But they also throw out some very prized things.
Yeah.
They throw out baskets.
Yeah, they throw out
They
baskets.
throw out the tetsayas. They throw out botas. They throw out yinyapas. And then this day and age now, they're starting to throw out yusi.
Yeah.
They'll throw out cuevas, Hopi belts. They'll throw out guasas. The
dresses.
ladies,
Yep.
dresses.
Yeah, some of them they throw out the Hopi shoes. They throw out pottery as well.
Zapatas.
Yeah, they're starting to throw out pottery that are prized as well too. And it's just it's to symbolize that this is the end of the women's society here. And it's just basically symbolizing the end of their kind of their term, basically.
And then to my knowledge, at least, and I'll admit that my knowledge on Hopi stuff is very limited, but as there's three dances, I guess, that women do.
Yeah.
One's Momrao,
Yep.
which happens before these basket dances.
Yeah.
And then the one that happened this weekend in Songopave is Lalkon.
Yep.
And then the ones that are done nowadays in Third Mesa is Owaka.
Yeah.
And so that there are these differences. And as far as what the differences are, I would have no idea. Because then, when they're preparing for these dances in the Kiva, that there's even more intricacies and steps and processes that they do in order to make these dances happen. And then in the Hisat time, that there was a Wimi behind it, that
Yeah.
there were women that are, or I guess still to this day on Second Mesa, they still go
through their
Mamrao. They still get Wimka into Lalkon. But on our Third Mesa site, he said that you used to be able to get initiated into Owaka, and that there was a process and that there was a membership, just like it is when you go to Sam's Club and you want to buy groceries there, that there was a process to that. And so now today, I guess the thing that people like about these basket dances, and people really do enjoy basket dances. Like there's these memes that you see on social media. It's like these pictures of football games, and this is what everybody looks forward to in the fall. But then this is what I look forward to in the fall. And it's a drawing of the ladies throwing out all their different things during the basket dance.
Yeah.
And I even have Navajo friends who have been to basket dances, and so they always ask, so when are the basket dances happening? Because that's something that they really enjoy going to. And I guess, for people that really enjoy these basket dances, I think that, why they like it, it's because it's this concept of fighting for the things that they throw out.
Yeah.
And so the ladies, they dance in a circle. And then the crowds will be in all directions of the dancers. And then these Owakalmanas, or I don't know what it's called, my assumption would be Lalkonmanas and the Lalkons, that they come with all these different things. And then they start throwing out everything, clothes hangers, cups, bowls, as mentioned before. Ramen noodles is always a popular thing, and then everybody's just fighting for them. Everybody's just got their hands in the air. And I guess that would be a difference that's visually different, is that Lalkon, the girls, they don't run around. They just throw from the circle that the ladies are dancing in. In Owaka, that the girls run outside of the circle, and so they're running amongst the crowd, throwing things, and everybody's just having a grand old time, yelling around, ooh, 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 ooh.
Yeah.
Mewi.
She's not your mewi anymore.
and so, and I guess that's the fun of it. And so, like the thing that I always used to relate it to is that, when we were kids, like football, we like to play football because then it's rough. Or you like to play that game that would be culturally inappropriate in today's day and age, is Smear the Queer. And you liked it because it was a rough game.
Yeah.
And then, these basket dances, that they get pretty rough.
They do.
They get pretty rough. And so, I guess the standard protocol is that, they try to instruct the women that are in attendance that aren't participating, you guys go on the roof.
Yeah.
Or if there's kids, you guys go on the roof. Then the men should be the ones that are down on the ground, because that's where all the ruckus happens.
Yeah. It's like a mosh pit, but without the music, the hardcore music. And everybody has a story about behind what they saw, or if they participated in this mashup, basically. Like there was one story up at Hotvela where that they were fighting for a belt, a Hopi belt, and it got so intense that the fight happened after the dance, that these women had gone to go rest and to go get, whatever more. And this fight was still happening. And I think basically, I think there were like 5 or 6 guys that fell off the mesa, still holding on to the belt, and landed in a pool of water, or the pavek, and they fell in there, and they were still fighting like that. It's very, very intense. It gets intense like that, and by the end, you're only left with like maybe 4 strands of material that you left.
4 pieces of a belt. 4 pieces of a belt.
Yeah, and it gets very, very intense like that.
Well, you did mention earlier in the podcast that you talked about how things used to be when you were young.
Yes.
Because I remember, that when they would have the basket dances, the parts about it that I used to like it on Friday.
Yeah.
The day before the actual dance. The dance that the women, they would come and they would dance publicly.
Yeah.
In the women's plaza, that most villages have a special plaza
for the women,
for specifically for the women, that they call the Momoyam Kisonvi, or Momoyam Kisonvi, which translates to women's plaza. And so they would come out, but they wouldn't be in their Hopi clothes just yet. That they'd still be wearing their pahana dresses or t-shirts, blouses, whatever that may be, and then they would dance. But then when they do this dance on Friday, that nobody's throwing anything out. So I guess the chaos part is removed from it, and you can actually see them dancing, and you can actually hear them singing. And as a kid, I remember I used to like that. Well, I think I used to like it because it was just one time.
Yeah.
And it wasn't an all-day thing. And so I got to go home like soon right after. And so, that was one thing that I always remembered. But then, I guess, and it has changed. It has changed because then, when you think about growing up in the 90s, just this difference between the 90s to now, to 2022, that there would be big crowds, but they wouldn't be anywhere near the size of the crowds that there are today.
No, I mean, like talking with Kwa, when he was growing up too, he would go, there would hardly be anybody at a basket dance. And these women would come over and would just have a little bit of whatever they have in like sacks. That would be it. And, the more popular items were from like if they had enough money, they would buy like pie pans, or they would buy like groceries or plastic goods, all of these things. And men would, go crazy over that. They wouldn't go crazy over the yunyepas or the botas because, you can get that anywhere, because he said that one time he was up there with his dad up at Musangnuvi when they had their basket dance up there. And there was this one, it was just a crowd, just a small crowd, maybe like 7 or 8 guys that were there at the beginning of the show. And this boat came flying over, and it just landed right in front of one guy, and guy didn't even do anything. He just kicked it aside, and he was waiting for the plastic goods.
Really?
Yeah. He's like, yeah. And later on, he just picked it up, and then he went home. That was it. Nobody cared.
My father shares similar stories of what it used to be like back then.
Yeah.
In those decades prior to us living, is that, he told me that, those awakalmanas, or, the throwers, that really they will only throw what they could carry on their back. And so they would have all their baskets wrapped in some sort of cloth that they would carry on their back when they went into the Kisonvi. And then that's all that they would throw out. And back then he told me that it was mostly just baskets that they would throw out. And just like a story, he said that there weren't a lot of guys in the crowd that a basket would fall right in front of you and you could just bend over and pick it up. And nobody would rush and try to take it away from you. That you didn't have to fight for it. That you just had to pick it up. But then, decades later in this day and age, when the Owakalmana comes running, and she'll have something prized in her hand, whether that's a yinyapa, a pota, or a tetsaya, and she'll be waving it from left to right. And really what she's trying to do is she's trying to clear everybody out of her way so that she can make it to where she's going to run. But then because she has it in her hand, everybody can clearly see that that's what she's going to throw out next. And then everybody's eyes gets big. And then noise comes from the crowd, kind of like this gasp, like, oh shit, she's going to throw something good. And then they're all yelling, throw it this way. Or, they're trying to get her to throw it in the direction that they're standing. And then finally she'll stop, and then she'll throw it as hard as she can. And then just this big mob of hands and people, men, go up to where these baskets fall. And most of the time, somebody doesn't catch it clean. Like they don't just catch it in their hand.
Yeah.
Like 5 guys will catch it all at the same time.
And then come down.
And then nobody will let go of it. And then more guys will jump in and try to get their hands on it. And basically it becomes this huge dog pile that people are fighting for whatever it is that they threw. And usually by the time that when somebody comes out with whatever it is, it's partially destroyed.
Yeah, it gets destroyed. And, people do get hurt. Sometimes, because sometimes these iñapos are made with wire. The wire
metal
ring.
wire.
Yeah, metal wire, and that comes loose or that breaks off, and some guys will get stabbed by this. And they don't care. They keep fighting with that. They want to get that that prize possession, and it becomes that prize where you like, I fought for this item here, even though it's destroyed, even though there's hardly anything left. You're proud that you were in a fight
and that you won.
You won that item. And I think that, nowadays it's become commercialized. Basket dances have become so commercialized that we make it where it's like we have to do it better or bigger next year. We have to get more and more stuff the following year.
Because it's kind of an interesting, I guess, dynamic of how the basket dance has become, because we mentioned that decades ago that if you were going to participate, all you needed was just detalles, iñapos, poltas, that you would make yourself. And at some point, sometime, somebody decided, let's introduce white man's
items,
groceries into this equation. Let's get pie pans, let's get plates, let's get cups, let's get ramen noodles.
Yeah.
People throw out custom T-shirts in this day and age.
Pillows, custom pillows.
I remember that, one of the more recent, well, I guess basket dances before the pandemic, that there was this T-shirt and it read, all I caught at the basket dance was this shirt. And then so, one of the ladies was throwing those T-shirts out, and that's what people were fighting over and catching. And so at some point, as you mentioned, that it really became materialized.
Yeah.
And then so more things. And then so like now these girls or these ladies that are going to throw, that they have to start accumulating items months in advance.
Yeah.
Because of how costly it is to buy all of these items that they're going to throw out, that relatives have to contribute to what it is that they're going to throw out. And then so, you're going to the dollar store, you're dropping about $1,000 on clothes hangers and toilet paper. Probably not really spending that much, but then you're spending money on the stuff that you have to throw out.
Yeah.
Because the women, they don't know how, not everybody knows how to make iñapos anymore.
No.
Not everybody knows how to make botas anymore. So now you're having to buy these items. And as mentioned before, that they can be up to $500 in cost. And then I guess, when you really talk about it, really thinking about it, that when it does cost that much money to procure these items, and then for most of it to be half destroyed by the time the dance is over, and it's like, what the fuck are we doing?
Exactly. I mean, like it that's what I'm saying. It becomes more commercialized. It becomes more materialized rather than the idea of the basket dances. And there is a deeper meaning to the basket dances, but yet we don't want to know what it is because we're fighting for.
We don't care what it is.
Yeah, we just don't care.
And I guess that's a good segue into this point, because I did want to talk about, because I don't make an attempt to make it to the basket dances anymore.
Yeah.
Because I don't like to be there. I don't like to be there because I don't like to see what those dances have become in this day and age. And, I know that a majority of people only go to these basket dances for the throwing part of it.
Yeah.
They want to catch things.
Yeah.
They want to fight with each other. They want to fight over baskets. And the other thing that people like to do, and this is something that I hate, is they like to drink.
Yes, they do. And it's become to where like a tradition that men will go to these traditional dances drunk. And it's become a tradition. It's become a tradition. Yeah. Guys will say that, I got a 40 here. Let's go drink.
I got a 30 pack here.
Yeah. And then they'll go drink, and then they'll go to the basket dance.
And then they'll go fight.
And they'll go fight. it's not to where they want to catch something. They just want to be a part of it.
Have fun.
Yeah, they just want to have fun.
It's become this big old party.
Yeah, and it's that kind of throws off everything about like what the traditions and the values of these special dances are. And it's become like that. It's become commercialized. It's become materialized, and there is no real big stop to it. People will like mewa, like warn people about what's what not to do, but yet they do it anyway. And there's no enforcement to that.
Nope. And I guess that's kind of like the most disheartening thing, because then I think about, I've always had that thought, like, why don't they just like, if there's a basket dance going on in one of the villages, why doesn't the Hopi PD just have all of their officers there in person? Because there's going to be people drinking. Yeah. Like, it's guaranteed. Like, there's not a lot of things in this world that's guaranteed, but drunk people at a basket dance
it's always guaranteed. Yes, exactly.
And so that they're going to be there. And so I've always thought, why not just come out in full force? And you don't even have to arrest them. Just do it like the old days out at the county fair, and then just construct a makeshift corral. All the whole honak, just throw them in there.
Gotta go get my taha.
Hose them down, and then just make them stay in there.
Yeah.
And then they can leave when the dance is over.
Yeah.
Because, I guess I understand that, the jail probably doesn't have enough room for all of them, and they probably can't all be arrested. But why not just do that? I've always had this thought. And then sometimes I think, or I hear people say, well, because, I guess doing that at a dance, arresting people would disturb the peace of what the purpose of the dance is.
Well,
then it's like, but then
it has to catch 22.
Being drunk is disturbing the peace.
Yeah.
And disturbing the harmony of the purpose of it. And so, like that, like, I guess, like that. I'm not from Songopavi. I'm not part of this Lalkont society.
Yeah.
And so I guess those folks would know more as to why that's something that they don't do, or maybe the PD itself isn't willing to do it.
Like just staying out
because
of it. Yeah.
I've seen police officers at these dances before walking amongst the hohonak.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, oh, hey, what's up? You're all drunk.
Yeah, he's all buzzed out.
Saying what's up to the cops.
The funny thing, too, is that it is illegal to drink on the reservation. It's illegal to be
illegal.
Yeah, it's
by tribal law.
By tribal law to drink on the reservation and to be intoxicated on the reservation. But yet these cops at these traditional dances don't do a thing. They just leave it as is.
They're probably just really there for like extreme cases.
Maybe.
But then, and then so that's kind of something that I dislike seeing. To me, it's disrespectful.
It is.
Like,
it's
to
very
me,
disrespectful.
It's disrespectful in the work that the society is doing to put the dance on. It's disrespectful to all the men that have wimi that are doing something.
Yeah.
Because then, these dances are still a part of this larger ceremonial calendar, which ultimate purpose is to keep our earth spinning on its axis so that our lives can continue.
Yeah.
But then yet, it's acceptable. It's acceptable for you to show up, to come and bring your drinks, to get drunk, and then engage in what's going on at these dances.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it is highly disrespectful. And if you do that at these dances like that, I have no respect for you.
I was going to say that. Fuck you.
I have no respect for you because you have no respect for anything that is done on the in Hopi society, in Hopi culture as well like that. So if you guys are listening to this and you do that at basket dances, stop it. Just quit it. I mean, it's a traditional dance and we have to keep it traditional.
I could just picture them now listening to this podcast with their beer in their hand. Okay, Carl, we'll stop it. Take a swig of the Bud Light. I'll stop after this can.
They're like,
finish that can.
They're like, oh, fuck you, Carl.
Yeah, fuck you, Carl. You don't know anything.
You don't know any shit.
Just because you can't catch a basket, Carl. Just try to stop me from having my fun. But, I guess that's kind of one aspect that I don't like about the dances. And I guess just generally, too. I think that a lot of us today, unfortunately, we go to basket dances for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
That we really do just go for that throwing part, because then, like sometimes in the times that I have been to basket dances, that it's really hard to navigate through the gisum because there's so many people. And then so, you stand where it is that you're able to stand. But once the girls are done throwing what they're throwing out and they go back to the kiva, the crowd disperses.
Yeah.
The crowd disappears. And then I'm able to get closer to the ladies and hear them singing.
The singing part
and see,
of it.
And so that's kind of, the part that kind of like annoys me or it pisses me off. It's because then like these ladies have really nice songs.
That's what I was going to say. The same
really
thing. Yep.
nice songs. And these songs, they remind me of my soul. They remind me of people that are no longer here before. Because then this idea of them, I have it so associated with these basket dances because I remember them dancing. I remember them dressed up. I remember some of my kias that aren't here anymore, that they would really tell me, come get my basket on the last one. And then so, this memory of some of these ladies that are no longer with us, that I have them tied to this idea of the basket dance. And then so when these ladies are singing this really nice song and it has this really nice harmony, like sometimes it chokes me up.
Yeah.
And I start, a little tear comes out because then it starts taking my mind back down memory lane. And plus, it just sounds so nice. And so now in the 2022, the only time that you can hear these songs are at the very end when the girls are done throwing things out. And that these people that go to the dances are only there for the action, because as soon as action stops, then they leave.
They just leave.
They leave.
Yeah. And just like what you said too, these songs are made specifically for this occasion here, and we're so sad to not hear these songs
because you can't hear them when they're throwing things up,
and when guys are yelling, and the crowd is chanting. It becomes this whole idea of like just a fun time, and I'm sure that's kind of incorporated in that as well too, but not to this extent. I'm pretty sure, but it's just. I guess what we're trying to say is that we're losing the value of it. We're losing the idea of what these dances are meant to portray.
Yeah, and I guess one more thing before we move on to our last topic is that and I do notice it is that and I think you're right, is that Hopis, we have this serious keeping up with the Joneses problem. Because then, when it's not enough for us just to throw out ramen noodles. It's not enough for us just to throw out plastic cups. We have to get creative in what we throw out. We have to be the only ones. I'm going to start this trend. I'm going to start throwing T-shirts out with things printed on them.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw even more valuable stuff. And so like 10 years from now, if they're still having these basket dances, you'll probably see iPhones being thrown out or iWatches or something like that. Because, talking about the differences about, when we were kids, that really the valuable things that they used to throw out, really it was just the baskets.
Yeah.
But then now they're starting to throw UC out. They're starting to throw belts out. They're starting to throw dresses out.
Yeah.
And the thing, I guess, that really kind of annoys me about when they throw the belts out is that a lot of those girls, because when they pull the belt out, it's already tight.
Yeah.
It's already tight, but what they do is that they untie it.
Yep.
And then they throw it out untied. And I've always thought, why don't they just leave it tied and throw it out that way? Because then if they leave it tied, then one person has a better chance of catching it cleanly, and then you won't fight for it. Because when they untie it, and this really relates to that story that you shared in Hopi, because I was there, I remember that.
Yeah.
That story is that the belt was untied, and because these belts are long.
Yeah.
And then so you have at any time up to 12 guys having a hand on that belt. Nobody's going to let go.
Nope.
Nobody's going to let go of that belt. And so what eventually ended up happening at Hotvilla, because they were fighting for that belt for hours, somebody finally took out their knife and they cut the belt. And so you really devoted hours of your day to fight for an eighth of a belt. And then what use is it to you after that?
You put it in like a what is it?
A frame?
shadow box. Yep. And say, I fought for this and I won.
Basket Dance 2000. to picture yourself
Yeah.
in your shirt,
your
half
shirt.
torn off,
Yeah. Just holding a little bit of the belt.
face all bloody.
I mean, there's a lot to the basket dance that we haven't told you about and stuff like that. But this is just the iceberg, the tip of the iceberg that has been what we have seen and what has been seen. So it's,
and I guess not to be 100% downer. I mean, it is fun to attend.
It is fun.
Like,
it is very, very fun.
I have fun when I go, but
Yeah.
but I'll still roll my eyes at people.
Oh yeah. I do the same thing too. I only attend the last dance when they're throwing out stuff from the kiva.
From the kiva?
Yeah, because you're guaranteed to get something.
Something.
Yeah, not all of it, but just guaranteed to get something.
What's the harshest experience you've ever had with a basket dance?
There was a little pottery up in Hotvella coming straight towards us,
Uh-huh.
and this was mid-morning, and I caught it, and some other guy caught it too, and we both went down, and then 10 guys just started piling on us, and I dropped that pottery, and it was only the hand size, little hand pottery, and it dropped into the sand, and I found it, and this guy tried to pull on it, and I stepped on it,
and you broke
and
it.
I broke it in half, and it all shattered and everything like that, and I came out with a couple pieces, and this guy basically just handed me over whatever pieces that were left. So I still have it. It's still in shards, but it's there somewhere. I don't know if I threw it away or not.
There was a basket dance at Upper Munkapi, and it was late, like it was dark, and they were throwing from the kiva. And I was trying to walk from one spot to another. I was trying to get a better spot so that I could try to catch more things.
Yeah.
And as I was walking in it dark, like you can't see nothing. It was starting to get dark. And I just remember seeing out of the corner of my eye this frying pan flying. Boom! It clocked me in my head. And man, I was like disoriented for a few seconds. Like, what the hell just happened?
Just saw the stars.
It was like one of those Looney Tune cartoons.
You
and
saw the birds
started flying around on the top of my head, and then I finally got myself together, and I kept going. I know though I had a big bump on my head.
Oh man, that's crazy. But speaking of basket dances in October, end of October, we're in the month of November, and to celebrate the holidays, Thanksgiving's coming up. We got 2 more major holidays that are coming up, and one of the things that I never really heard of, but apparently this is a new holiday here.
This is something that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, and it's Native American Heritage Month, which is in the month of November.
We actually did talk about Native American Heritage Month briefly in a previous episode, and so in preparation, because I knew this is something that you wanted to talk about, I went back to that episode and I listened to it.
Yeah.
And you pissed me off in that episode. And
I piss you off in every episode.
I was thinking, I was like, how the fuck have I lasted this long? Because then listening to that episode, this is the episode we did about 2 years ago. And so it was about 2020 when we briefly talked about Native American Heritage Month. This was the episode where you had wished me happy birthday. So I had just turned 34 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like, God damn, we've been doing this podcast for a while.
Yeah.
Like for a big chunk of my 30s, we've been doing this podcast. And then 2, you accused me of saying something false on air, which you have yet to prove.
I did prove
your accusation.
I did prove it.
And you have yet to buy me lunch, because then we made
I did buy you lunch.
That you had to prove what it is that you were claiming, which to this day you still have it. And then 3, basically you made a lot of remarks that just had me rolling my eyes, and I was like, God damn, how is it that I've lasted so long being your partner on this podcast?
Well, anyway, I'm pretty sure that deep down you still love me as one of your own. So,
and so I guess the big question, because it is Native American Heritage Month, did start on November 1st. And then so, this is really the first week of November. And so I guess the question is, how are Carl and JMan celebrating Native American Heritage Month? Because we got some good topics that are coming up. Yeah. We did talk about doing a podcast about powwow. And so, that was kind of one of the subjects that we were going to talk about, because I think powwow is probably one of the most well-known, I guess, Native practices nationally. Yeah. As far as like a larger audience goes. And so, and the powwow has migrated and made its way here onto the Hopi reservation. And so you do have a lot of young Hopis, mostly, I guess. I don't know if there's any old Hopis that participate in powwow, but mostly it's the younger generation that's undertaking this practice. And so, we got a special guest for that. And so that's something that we're going to talk about. And then also, too, our intern, AJ, does a lot with native fashion. And so that was another topic that we had talked about revisiting, was this whole world of native fashion. And so you got a lot more native fashion designers. And this might be an idea, is that you do a topic on native influencers, since we did talk about that briefly on the podcast that we were guests on, Delvin's podcast.
So, do you celebrate Native American Heritage Month?
Oh, yeah, I celebrate it.
So what do? You put out a flag or something like that? Barbecue?
I tell white people, give us our land back or buy me lunch.
You put up a flag. Well, there's flags for everything, like the Black Pride flag, and
I take the whole month off of work. And I just sit at home in my loincloth. Get indigenous again.
Thinking about this thing here is like, I think that Native American Heritage Month is racist. And the reason why is because
we're not being considerate.
No. Okay.
South Americans.
No.
Indigenous South Americans.
Think about it. Why did somebody say? Okay, think about
it. Northern American or Northern American.
Think about it. Why did somebody think of the month to be in November, so close to Thanksgiving, when the first native said that, hey, let's have Thanksgiving with these white people here? That is one of the most highly racist things.
I think that was the sole reason as to why.
I think
Native American Heritage Month.
I think that's racist. I think that's highly racist. We should
wait.
We should have Native American Month on December.
Is it Native American Heritage Month, or is it Indigenous Heritage Month?
No, it's Native American Heritage Month. Right?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know anymore. I don't know anymore, Carl.
I put up my flag.
Because as Michael Scott once said, that when I was growing up as a kid, gay used to mean lame.
Oh yeah.
But now today it means something completely different.
It means you're prideful now. And so, I think that we should have Native American Heritage Month next month on December.
No, that's when Christmas is.
That's why it's so close to Christmas, because a lot of Native Americans like to celebrate Christmas.
Maybe a lot of us like to celebrate Thanksgiving.
Nobody likes to celebrate Thanksgiving.
I love to celebrate.
I like
Thanksgiving.
to celebrate Thanksgiving, but there's not. It's you're celebrating. What is it called? The massacre of Native Americans.
No, you're celebrating the indigenous peoples helping the pilgrims to survive the long winter is what you're celebrating.
And then later on,
in turn, that led up to that, but the actual day is isolated specifically to the natives helping the white people.
Led up to the manslaughter of thousands and millions of Native Americans.
Yeah, that's true.
But all in all, I mean, I don't celebrate Native American Heritage Month because I think it's mainly made for the urban natives who want to be closer to their culture.
Well, I guess throughout the white man's calendar year that a lot of ethnicities are recognized. There's an Asian month. There's a month that celebrates Black African Americans. I think there's a month that celebrates autism or something like that. There's months that celebrate all of these different things. And then November is specifically held for Native Americans, American Indians, indigenous people, what have you. And I guess really, at least talking about Native American Heritage Month, because to me, I guess really it's something that's kind of just really developed within maybe the last decade or last 2 decades. Because then, I remember as a kid that, there wasn't really anything about Native American Heritage Month. We had Indian Day. And, we dressed up in our clothes.
That's in September, though.
And we danced, and that was September. And that was closest to anything like this that exists today back when we were kids.
And the reason why I don't celebrate is because I got influenced by, I think it was Samuel L. Jackson that was doing.
You've been influenced by all the wrong people.
I think it was Samuel L. Jackson, or was it I think it was one of the other guys that were highly on. I think it was what was it? He was doing an interview about that, and one woman asked him do you celebrate Black History Month? Mm-hmm. And he's like. He's like, fuck no, man. that's a white man's holiday. No white black man should be celebrating who he is. Because if it weren't for us, you wouldn't even be here. We're the ones who made America. We're the ones who made it show that you can have your Bentley and your Frappuccinos and everything like that. And he's like, and to give us that as 1 month to celebrate who we are, that's an insult to our own culture like that. And that's why I kind of got influenced like that. And so it's like, why are you celebrating something so harsh in society or like in our minds, like, like the genocide of Native Americans, to give us 1 month of like, hey, let's celebrate, like, like these teachers, these white teachers, Bahana teachers, like, let's celebrate the natives on this, this month here.
Well, if I can ask the producers if we can go past a little bit time, because I think it's actually a pretty good topic.
Yeah.
And it is something that you wanted to talk about. And I wish we would have carved out a little bit more time for it, but I wanted to have a long introduction on this episode for whatever reason. And, I guess, I can see that side. I can see that side of the argument, because I guess really, at least the way that I interpret it, like the whole purpose of Native American Heritage Month, in my mind at least, as far as analyzing what's out there promoting Native American Heritage Month, is that it's supposed to be a space for indigenous peoples to be recognized by America, I guess, or the United States, and to showcase that we're still here, to show that we're still here, to show all of the contributions that we've made to this country, to the world, and to just generally share that we have a place still here, recognize us, and allow us to continue to live as a part of this wheel that's in this larger American machine that goes. And I guess really, to me, that's the whole purpose of it. But then like for us, I think like res natives, especially us being Hopi, that, like we have more chances. Is this Christmas music?
I think this is Christmas music.
Yeah.
Well, it's the month of Christmas, so I don't know. I just chose whatever. So you want to listen? Go, just keep talking. Go ahead.
And so like for people like us, I guess, is that we have this opportunity throughout the year to be Hopi.
Yeah.
And so I guess for most people living out here, that would be the attitude. It's like, well, the hell, just 1 month out of the year, we're going to celebrate who we are, but yet we should be doing it all throughout the year.
Your beginning actually sounded like a white politician voting for this holidays. Like, we're glad that you guys are still here. We're going to celebrate you guys on what you've contributed to America. We haven't forgotten about you guys. Here's a free $25 Starbucks gift card.
And I guess back to your Samuel L. Jackson example.
Yeah,
it's that and seeing it from that side, it's like, well, we've taken millions and millions of acres of your land.
Yeah,
we've killed thousands, if not millions, of you people off. That we've completely written you out of the history books. That we've completely stripped you of your identity, of your language, of who it is that you are. In exchange, here's 1 month to where
we can honor you.
We'll honor you. We'll celebrate you. And I guess that I guess the whole, from A to Z, the historical accounts that have happened of indigenous peoples in this country, as it relates to like the federal government, as it relates to white people in general, as it relates to assimilation and our colonization. That's what really pisses me off, is that people don't remember these things.
No.
People don't remember that the government has time and time again has screwed our people over.
Oh, yeah.
That politicians, you've mentioned politicians, have time and time again has not gone through with their word. But then yet in 2022, Carl and JMan, you guys are jackasses for not voting. like there's just so much contradiction in that.
Yeah.
And, and I guess, a month's time really isn't enough time to learn about all of these things.
Yeah.
Because there's so much history, as, I guess even in broadly as just thinking of Indian country as a whole. but then breaking it down individually to each tribe, what their histories are, to what their attributes were to this country or locally to their states.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. And so, I guess, I guess I can see it on both sides, because then, I can see it on the side that, we have this month to show the world that we still exist, and that you got a lot of organizations that use it as a way to bring more attention to themselves.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Especially like
that's what I'm saying is like, this holiday is not made for Native Americans. It's made for the industrial part of Native American, where it takes like the businesses and the cultivists and the these different types of people that want to basically capitalize on Native Americans. Basically, like, like what you said, it's to honor, to get money, to get more funding like that. It's basically we're just like showboating ourselves, saying that, hey, let's do this so we can get more money like that.
Well, I guess really what I mean is that, like, nonprofit organizations, for example, all these Native nonprofit organizations, they're using this as a platform, like, celebrate Native American Heritage Month by giving us money that in turn will help Native people. And so whether that's helping homeless Native people, or helping Native people to get a college education, or helping Native people to get services that wouldn't normally be provided to them unless without these nonprofit organizations. And so really, I guess, in a way, that those are the positive things about it, is that these Native organizations are using it to try to funnel more funding to themselves, because then you have the nation celebrating Native Americans between November 1st and then November 30th. And then you got all these larger organizations like the Phoenix Suns, for example, that within the last few years that they've been having this Native American Heritage Night in the month of November, recognizing the 22 federally recognized tribes in the state of Arizona. And then this year that they're coming out with a special, they're calling it a city edition jersey design that's supposed to be honoring natives.
So capitalizing on Native Americans.
Yeah, well, depending on how it looks, I may or might not buy that jersey.
So capitalizing on Native Americans. I would celebrate Native American Heritage Month if they donated like maybe one load of coal or one load of wood to each of the households that actually need it the most.
Who would donate this?
The white people. White people who actually made this holiday for us. You know that no native was in that drawing board, that room, saying that, yeah, we do need a month here. No native wanted to have this. You know that. It was all these Pahanas saying that, what we do need? We need more of like these Native Americans to get off our backs right now. And let's give them a month. And to add salt to the wounds, let's make it around November when they actually know that Thanksgiving is around. So like let's make it where like natives were the first ones to have Thanksgiving with the pilgrims. Let's make it like that. That Pahanas were the first people to do this, not Native Americans.
So I have this 2 points on my format today. One, it says see Carl's rant. And then immediately following that, it's JMan puts Carl into his place.
Okay,
and
now put me into my place.
We're getting to that point. No, I don't know either. Like, I don't know factually how this month got started. I don't know who was involved. I don't even know who started it.
It's a Pahana. I know for
sure.
I
would like to think that there were natives that were involved in getting this and making this happen, because then, like, I don't think that nationally our population is large enough to where, like, it's a demand and it's like, oh, all these natives want it, well, let's give it to them. No, I think that there was probably somebody in that room and said that, look at this. You guys recognize black people. You guys recognize African Americans. You guys recognize Asian people.
Yeah.
You guys recognize people with dyslexia. You guys recognize all these people, but you don't recognize the first people that were living here before you guys got here. So give us our month. Like, I like to think
they should give us our year. They should give us a year, a whole new year.
How it was done. But of course, I don't know that. I don't know that for a fact. And so I guess either way, however this month was created, and I know that there are lots of other people like you. Like, it's just any normal month.
Yeah.
Like what benefits am I getting from us celebrating Native American Heritage Month? Because then like that, like you still got to haul your own wood.
Yeah.
You still got to go haul your own coal, or, spend $100 from the guy that's selling it on the road. Like nobody's doing that for you.
You know what make it
celebrate Native American Heritage Month?
If they gave us like tax-free stuff.
And that Native American Heritage game that goes on at the Phoenix Suns, I still got to pay a ticket. I still got to buy a ticket for it.
I'm Native American.
Nobody's letting me in for free. And then, so you're right, they are monetizing still on this idea
capitalizing
of today's Native American Heritage Month. And actually, I was invited to last year's Native American Heritage game that the Phoenix Suns had, and I got to sit in a suite. It was so fucking cool. And I went for free. I went for free on that one. But if I wanted to go again this year, I would have to pay for a ticket. And last year, there were so many natives in the crowd, and they had these cool shirts too that actually were free. So if you paid to get into the game, that there were these shirts there to wear, and it was a design that was done by one of the more, I guess, local, well-known artists. I think it was that OXDX guy. I think it was him. Yeah. But they had this design on there, and of course they're all extra large, and it's like, God damn, how big do they think we are?
I guess what I'm saying is that, I guess it's a big insult to Native Americans to have something like this. Even though we're capitalizing on this whole idea of Native American, and just like what, the interview with Samuel L. Jackson, he was saying that, hey, I don't celebrate Black History Month because I know who I am, and I don't need to have a month to recognize who I am. So it was like, it's the same thing. It's like, I know who I am, and I don't need a month to have people recognize who we are.
And, I guess this topic would probably be like, there's so many people with different beliefs because, some people are really for it. They use it. It is a platform for them to share with the world that we are still here, that we should be recognized, that we should be allowed this time. And I guess, because we're running a little bit long, the last thing to do before we go, what are some movies, some shows that talk about or have natives involved that you like to watch? How does Carl celebrate Native American Heritage Month?
I don't. I still watch scary movies.
Watch Kevin Costner flicks.
Be Kevin Costner's bitch.
November 1st to November 30th.
I'm not Kevin Costner's bitch anymore,
Pop in Dance Me Outside. That's actually a movie I really like.
Actually, that's a pretty good movie.
He's all buzzed out in there. And
Turquoise Rose was pretty good.
Rose,
yeah.
You just like to check out the Navajo Girl.
Yeah, exactly. Smoke Signals was
Smoke Signals.
Smoke Signals is actually a horror movie. It is.
It's not.
It's a crazy horror. Listen to the music. If you actually watch that movie again, listen to the music. It plays like a horror movie. There are no happy tunes to that. Every scene with Victor and his go-to partner, it's all about like this horror scene. It's all about horror music. And I just figured that out. I was like, oh my God, this is a horror movie. This is crazy. I like it now.
You know what I like to watch? I like to watch, the first season of Res Dogs was pretty good. I actually still got to go and finish the second season. All the native ladies out there were being all cheap for Halloween, just putting on a baseball cap, turning it backwards and calling themselves Willie Jack. And so I didn't have the effort to actually put a real costume together. And the girl that is on Reservations Dog, I think that her character name is like Allura. But she's gonna join the Marvel Cinematic Universe because I'm a big MCU guy.
Oh, really?
And so there is a native superhero. Her name's Echo, and she is on the Hawkeye series. And then this girl, Allura, the girl that plays Allura from Res Dog, she's going to be in the Echo series.
Oh, really?
And so Disney Plus is jumping on the native bandwagon. And so they're going to produce a series called Echo that features a Native American heroine. And so they got a native superhero out there.
Natives only play natives in movies, right?
When have you seen a native actor or actress play anything other than a native person?
You never seen
I've noticed that.
Yeah.
I've definitely noticed that.
If there was a native Ariel in the new Ariel movie, the remake, the live action movie,
it would be a part Asian actor, actress.
Exactly. There are no movies that portray Native Americans
There's
that have lead actors.
There's an actress on Yellowstone, the show Yellowstone. That's a real popular show too. She portrays one of the native ladies, but she's not really native, and so as a result of it, I hate that character.
There's a lot of Native American actors out there that want to be actors, but yet they're portrayed by Mexicans. They're portrayed by Asians. Yep. Exactly. And if you go through all the 90s Native movies, they're all like white people that are brown face.
You know what movie that I really liked that came out very recently, and I think a lot of Indian country liked it too, was Prey. Prey was a pretty decent movie.
It was actually a really good movie. I actually did enjoy it. The graphics were pretty great.
I liked it when the actress, she's actually she's in the actress, she is in the series Legion. And so she's, in addition to killing predators, she's also an X-Men, because then she's in this epic series Legion. But anyway, at the very end, Amber Midthunder, I think is her name. But at the end, when she kills the predator, and then she does her kipokdokti, her little I almost cried. Oh yeah, I almost cried. I was like, "Fuck yeah!"
I was laughing at that. It's like, that woman should have died.
But anyway, we've gone long, and so we'd like to wish everybody a happy Native American Heritage Month, and then that the CJ podcast, to finish out this season, will be coming with really strong Native-themed episodes.
Yeah, exactly. And if you've gotten this far, I congratulate you, because it was a very long episode. So if you guys want to donate something, go to anchor.fm/CJ podcast 85 to become a monthly donor. Actually, we do have a new monthly donor.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I forgot the name of it, but I'm pretty sure that if we go, on the next episode, we'll give you a shout out on that as well too. So, and if you guys want to donate $1 or more, go to buymeacoffee/CJ podcast to donate $1 or more.
And if you were not following us on our social media accounts, you can find us at Carl and JMan all across the boards on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And we will be doing our 1,000 Instagram follower giveaway pretty soon. And so we have reached that milestone. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, don't forget to give us that 5-star review. It really helps us out, get out the boards. Thank you.
All right. Well, I did find her name. Her name is Candace Berman. Ooh. So, thank you, Candace, for actually donating your hard-earned money for us to say random stuff on the...
And Candace, Carl was just joking. He knew your name all along. He was not performing bad radio right there.
I knew. Yeah, exactly. So we're just going to edit that out. Producers will edit that whole thing out. So
if you don't know what you're talking about, just shut up and don't mention it. Tidbit for all the listeners out there.
All right.
You're going to start your own podcast.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to Carl and JMan Save the World podcast. My name is Carl, and this is my best friend, JMan.
So long. Quack, quack.